GST supply. You have to understand as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, no matter what size of business you have to understand, not going to the large provisioning of GST, but at least understand that the GST supply and what supply you are going to cover for your business. The outward taxable supply, export supply, nil rated supply, exempted supply, non-GST supply, composite supply, mixed supply, casual taxable person supply, non-resident supply, what transactions you are doing. You have to check and fit your transactions into this supply. With this, I would like to bring a very important information in front of you. That is toward the non-resident supply. Who are non-resident? What are the tax provisioning, GST provisioning they need to fulfill in India? What are those tax forms that they need to comply? What are those tax returns that they need to fulfill and file? What are the consequences if they are not filing and complying with GST? You are going to get all those answers in this video. Non-resident supply. As you see the words non-resident, that means it is simple that a persons who are going to supply the taxable services or goods in India, the person is belonging and the person is living out of India. So a person who is out of India is providing the taxable service or goods in India is in the nature of non-resident supply. Now a persons who are out of India, how they can be able to fulfill the compliance in India? Because by nature, he is a non-resident. So in this video, you are going to check and you are going to apply if you are working as a non-resident supply. Yeah, you are working as an agent or any principals on behalf of non-resident supply, non-resident persons. That is more important. The provision is very simple. You will not worry more about that. The provisions is not making more stringent in your compliances. A person who is non-resident is providing the taxable services or goods in India is required to register in India through their agent or the principals. So it means a person who is providing the services or goods from out of India to India is required to hire an agent or a principal to make it fulfillment of the compliance of GST and pay the tax. What form for GST registrations is required to fulfill? So a non-resident before starting the business, at least 5 days prior to start the business, is required to register in India by filling the form GSTR REG 9. GSTR REG 9. What document they need to give? So their passport, their address, and their any legal informations from the country from where they are belongs. They have to simply fill the form, the REG 9, apply for the registrations to the government portal, and there is a simple form that GST REG 9, the persons who are working as a non-resident is required to file in India by logging to GSTR portals. Once they get the registrations, right, they can start their business activity in India by hiring any agent or any principals. But what agent or principal is required to comply with, that they do not have a principal place of business in India. They will work on behalf of the non-resident, fulfilling those all compliance of GST, paying the tax in advance by submitting their PAN number or their details to work as a agent or principals on behalf of non-resident. So supposingly, for example, if a person's Mr. Johnson, who is from USA, is providing the services in India through their manufacturing of their one of the goods in USA and sending in India for assembling of those goods. So what happened? The manufacturing of goods is in USA, assembling of those goods. That means some of the services and assembling work would be happening in India. So that goods would be come in India. One of the agent, Mr. Binod, who are working on behalf of Mr. Johnson in India. And what he will do here, that he will go and start those work and activities on behalf of Mr. Johnson. The Mr. Johnson is required to pay the advance tax. For example, the total value of the assembled service is around 10 lakhs. So the Mr. Johnson is required to pay in advance. The GST is rupees 1,80,000. Once the advance tax is paid, the services is going to complete. If the Mr. Johnson find, or Mr. Binod on behalf of Mr. Johnson find that the 3-month period for that the GST or REG 9 is valid, is not fulfilled the scope of work, then again further go for the extension of the services, that is through GST or REG 11. So the Mr. Johnson is required to file GST or REG 11 to make the extensions of that particular period of GST. Once Mr. Johnson get the extension, Mr. Binod is required to fulfill all those work within the stipulated period. And if the service value of that particular assembled work is more than 10 lakh, let's say 15 lakh or 20 lakh, then Mr. Johnson is required to pay through their agent, Mr. Binod, in India, what the additional liability of GST, right? That is more important. So the non-resident is required to pay the advance tax. Non-resident is required to register in GST by filing the GST 9. If extension is required, then the Mr. Johnson is going to get the extension by filling the GST or REG 11. Once they get the extension through their agent, Mr. Binod, who work as an agent or principal, is a responsibility to complete the work of those assembling work and paying the tax what they assemble and the agreement or the scope of services to complete that particular work. Once this has been done, then Mr. Binod on behalf of Mr. Johnson will give the declaration that the tax liability is completely paid. There is no any point of discussions or problems areas to make further tax payment, and that the Mr. Johnson will further go and take their goods out from India. So how this is important to understand from the non-resident point of view. So many work, many assembling or job work, many services and their product enhancement, product creations is happening in India on behalf of non-residents. So if you're working as an agent or as a principal, you need to understand and fulfill those all compliance. That is more important to make it easy of doing business in India on behalf of non-resident. What you are thinking? As an agent or as a principal, you are working as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, isn't it? What the work you are taking, because you are specialized into that areas, you are having more opportunity to get the work from the non-resident and fulfilling all those services and renting those all services. That is more important. So find out this to get more opportunity creations, to get more fulfillment of the GST compliance, to help to the non-resident to provide all those GST compliance so that they would be able to get more opportunities. They would be have a more happiness in their mind, in their faith. Isn't it? That is more important once you are providing, because if you talk about GST, it is really meant for doing the easy of doing business. If you are not understanding the GST, it means you have a big problem. The provisioning and norms are very simple. What you need to do here is that as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, you should not go to the provisioning, the sections, the clauses, the subsections. You need to understand at least then what GST is going to provide you the opportunity to create more and larger business opportunities for you. That is more important. GST is one of the platform to integrate your business, to get more opportunity, to deliver the best, paying tax on timely, complying the monthly or quarterly or annually return compliance, you will be able to find more opportunities. The returns are very simple, like how the GST or 1 and 3 we are filing as a normal taxable persons. You have to simply go and file. There is no any problem in GST for at least for the small and micro entrepreneurs who are rendering services and who are finding more opportunity to go and become a large fish. For that, you need to understand, if you are not applying the GST in your business, and if you are scaring and fearing more that, oh my God, if GST apply, then what happen? How you will do the business? What are those compliances? How you will manage the GST? If you are in the scaring of this kind of problem, that means you are allowing to yourself to kill your business, and over the period of the time your business will be shut down. So what do you are thinking? Whether you wanted to grow your business and getting more opportunities, or you wanted to shut down your business. Choice is yours. If you are not going to apply your GST, if you are not going to run the business with the GST, if you are not going to integrate and face your GST with your business, you will not able to run your business for the longer period of the time. This is how it is important for the business owner and the entrepreneurs. Think about it. Apply the non-resident provisioning, give the services to the non-resident, provide the best services, and get more opportunities from the world. This is Sajjan Singh signing out. Until we meet again, thank you. Thank you very much.